Howdy y'all. Today we're talking about Terradon Riders. So it's a little bit of a unique unit in that it is extremely fast, extremely fragile, but can put out a lot of damage. So this is a unit that is the definition of a glass cannon. So we're going to look at that, how we can use it, and we're going to also put it on the table here in Tabletop Simulator and see what it looks like when we put these guys in our list on the table and what they can actually do. So let's look at the War Scrolls first and then kind of go through some of the synergies and how we can buff these guys up and what their specialty is. So Terradon Riders, a new War Scroll. We got 3 wounds each, and they're taken in a unit of 3, multiples of 3, 3, 6, 9, 12 if you're just an absolute mad lad. They have a move of 16, save of 6 up. That's where the glass cannon comes in, man. These guys are squishy. Bravery of 5 if you're taking them in Coalesced. In Starborn, they have Bravery 10. They have 2 options for missile weapons. STARSTRIKE Javelin, which is a 12-inch range, 2 attacks, 4s and 3s, no rend, 1 damage. And Sunleech Bolas, 6-inch range, D6 attacks, 4 to hit, 3 to wound, no rend, 1 damage. So, they're melee weapons, just the jaws. For some reason, these guys don't carry melee weapons. They're just going to let the Terradon do all the attacking. 4 attacks, 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage. So, on these missile weapons, I personally, as you're going to have to choose between the two, I personally like the Bolas better. Because in any way that I'm running these guys, I'm planning on them being up close and personal to the enemy. These guys are fast, incredibly fast, 16-inch move, plus we have a lot of ways to buff that. We'll see here in a minute. So these guys are going to be in close. So 6-inch range is fine. I'm having a chance for more attacks on those, especially if I can get them to hit high, and maybe we can do some extra damage there. They do have the Alpha gets 1 extra attack in missile weapons, and then the abilities. Here's where the Terradons earn their role. Well, let's be honest. This is where their role is at. Once per battle, after this unit finishes a move. Notice it says a move, so it can be anything that's a move. That includes a normal move, a charge, which is a move, a pile-in, which is a move. After this unit finishes a move, you can pick 1 enemy unit and roll 1 dice for each model in this unit that pass across any models from that enemy unit. For each 4-up, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. So here's our mortal wounds. They're dropping their rocks on the enemies. Now, a couple things to note. So it is any move. We just talked about that. After you finish a move, you pick 1 enemy unit. So if you're flying a big unit over multiple units, you only get to pick 1, unfortunately. So that kind of stinks. But I think that's where it kind of hurts taking, like a big unit of 12, because it's going to be hard to hit all 12 of them on 1 unit. And if you don't get all of them on there and you use this ability, basically whichever models don't pass across that enemy unit are wasted. They'll lose their D3 mortals. There are ways to buff this, as we'll look here in a minute, but that's our basic War Scroll. Here's their damage that they do. Just based on that, I'm going to do bolas for all these, and then the melee and the rocks. Already versus a 4-up, they're at 6 damage, which if you remember the video from yesterday on the Ripperdactyls base War Scroll, they were doing 3. So already, just based on just simply the War Scroll, Terradons are twice as good as Ripperdactyls. If you were to take, just MSU, just small units of 3s, they cost the same, Ripperdactyls and Terradons. These are probably going to be your better option since they're faster. Their save is worse, but only by 1, and they'll be doing double the damage. So just on the War Scroll alone, they're twice as good. We do have a new hero for the Terradons, the Terradon Chief. So let's look at what he does here for them. He's kind of the same thing as the Ripperdactyl Chief, except slightly more fragile. He is a 6-up save on 5 wounds. So this guy is ripe to be sniped. But his command ability is amazing. So I'm not going to go through his melee weapons and stuff. Hopefully you're never going to have this guy in melee. If you are, then you've lost your other Terradons, and it doesn't matter anyway. His command ability, though. You can use this command ability when a friendly Terradon rider unit uses its deadly cargo ability, while it's wholly within 12 inches of a friendly model with this command ability. If you do so, the enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds for each 2-up instead of a 4-up. So now, this deadly cargo, if you're wholly within 12 of the chief, that's going to be a 2-up roll. So all of a sudden, it becomes a lot more deadly. You're going to get off a whole lot more mortal wounds. Now, on a unit of 3, it's not doing too terribly much. It does increase that damage up to 8 for just a unit of 3, which is that's perfect for for 80-point Terradon unit doing 8 damage. That's an awesome points return right there. But we will take these in bigger units for sure than just 3. That gives us an idea of what kind of damage it does, though. The problem with the Chief is that he is so squishy. So you do have to try to keep him alive. Try not to get this guy killed turn 1, because he is a force multiplier for your Terradons for sure. Another unit I want to get into before we go into too much of the synergies for these guys is the Skink Starseer. I really like this hero with the Terradons. The Terradons are already fast, so we're going to double down on that to make these guys, a board-wide threat. And what this Skink Starseer does is he'll get you command points in the hero phase. He has a good spell, which can subtract 1 from enemy save rolls or add 1 to your save rolls. So this can actually make your Terradons a little bit tougher. Gets them to a 5-up if you want to do that. But his big thing is that at the start of your charge phase, you can pick 1 friendly Seraphon unit wholly within 12 of this model. If you do so, in that phase, you're going to attempt to charge with that unit if it's within 18 of the enemy instead of 12, and you roll 3d6 instead of 2d6 when making the charge roll. So already a fast unit, you're getting a bigger charge. And now you might think, why this unit's already fast, it doesn't need this. But you need to maximize how many models from the Terradons fly over the enemy unit. Especially if it's a unit that you don't really want to fight, a lot in combat. You need to take out as many of them right there in that charge phase. Then this guy is crucial, because that extra dice roll on those Terradons will be a couple extra models in. And if you're dropping your cargo on the charge phase, this right here is well worth the extra points. He's a good hero anyway, but this right here, this ability is pretty awesome. And it doesn't cost a command point, which is nice. It's just a staff. It's one of those, skink staffs. I'm just going to point it at you, and it works. So I'm going to be taking him with my Terradons. So we've got 2 heroes worked out so far. The Skink Starseer and the Terradon Chief is going to be going with my unit. They are going to be an auto add for my list. Let's look at battalions. Is there a place for Terradons in a battalion? So we still have our 2 SHADOWSTRIKE hosts. They were split up. Our buffs were split up and divided between the 2 different subfactions. I don't see a huge role for the one in Coalesced. So the ability in Coalesced, if you take Terradons, you pick 1 unit that your Skink Priest or Skink Starpriest can see, and add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made for units in this battalion that target that unit. So it's good. I mean, adding 1 to the hit roll is always good. You've got, potentially quite a few attacks between the hit rolls or the missile weapons and the melee weapons. But that's not where their damage is coming from. Their damage is coming from the deadly cargo. So it's nice, but I'm trying to maximize my movement. The battalion for Starborn is basically the old SHADOWSTRIKE, but worse. Instead of deep striking anywhere within 3, it's now within 9. So you've got the standard deep strike of 9 inches away, and now you've got to make that charge. Statistically, you'll fail that charge more often than not. We do have ways to help that by giving us +1 from the constellation and some funny business with our heroes and teleporting. We'll kind of get into that here in a minute. I I don't think the Terradons need a battalion. Neither one of these is just amazing. The Terradons are so fast as it is, and we can make them even faster in the sub-factions, that I don't think they really need the Deep Strike. The Deep Strike actually may make it harder for them to get into the unit they want to than just regular movement. Just to show how fast these guys can actually move, I'm putting them in Starborn in Fangs of Sotek, so they get +3 movement turn 1. I'm turning on the Hunter Steed constellation, so I get another +1 to run and charge. My Skink Priest, he can let them run and charge and shoot in the same phase. That's kind of nice. Gives them +1 to their save if you need to. So there's another hero we can take. And the Skink Starseer, as we discussed, he gives a 3d6 charge and also a +1 to their save. So with that combination, we are making them fast and actually a little bit stronger. So they have a 19-inch base move turn 1 with we're gonna auto run them, roll for it, and if it doesn't get it, we'll spend a command point. So we get that plus another 1 from the constellation. So now they're at 26 movement. And then with the Skink Starseer, we've got potentially anywhere from 4 to 13-inch charge. So these guys' threat range in Fangs turn 1 is going to be 30 to 29 or 30 to 39 inches. That's amazing. In a game where movement is king, these guys right here have a lot of utility. They're fragile, but if we use the Skink Priest and the Skink Starseer, we can take that 6-up save to a 4-up. So if we have 6 of these guys, you know, that's 18 wounds on a 4-up save. It's not bad. It's not bad, especially for how fast they are and for what kind of damage you're going to be putting out. So I think that's kind of my tech right there. That's what I'm going to be running in this list. Highly mobile. We're going to use it like a scalpel. I want to remove that unit. It's 30 inches away from me. It's halfway across the board. That's fine. I can get to it. And I fly. So unit of 6 Terradons. Here's kind of what their output is going to look like. Just using the Chief's command ability, where they're going to drop their rocks on 2s. You're looking at 16 damage from 6 of them, which is pretty good. That will remove just about, any hero in the game, even if they have a 2-up save. As you can tell, the majority of that damage is coming from the mortals. And so the mortal output of these guys is pretty awesome. So you're looking at, you can remove just about anything from the table if you can get to it and drop all your rocks on it. If we want to get a little crazy and spend a few more hero slots, we can add the Skink Starpriest and the Skink Priest, which if you're a Seraphon player, you're always slotting those guys in. How can I use those guys to buff things? And now we're taking those 6 Terradons up to 23 damage, which using basically the same heroes that we used for the Ripperdactyls last video, and not nearly as many command points. This is only using 1 command point. Everything else is just point and staffs, and they're doing as much damage as the Ripperdactyls were using 3 command points. So, but it's different damage. This is all mortals. Most of this is mortals, and so where Ripperdactyls were high quantity and all in melee, so they fell prey to like activation war shenanigans, and anything that can fight first, you just can't do anything against. Terradons skip all that. We're going to do our damage in the movement phase, the charge phase, or the first pile in that we do. So you have some options here, and most of this damage is coming from the mortals. If you want to get crazy and go up to a unit of 9, if you can manage to fit them all in, you're going to be doing 35 damage. And that's 3 units at 80 points each, plus the chief. Yeah, it's not too expensive to get up to a unit of 9. The hardest part will be getting them all in. And so that's what we're going to go over to Tabletop Simulator here and look at what we can do, and especially how can we use this Starseer, because his ability for that charge is limited to wholly within 12. So it gets a little tricky with him, but let's see what we can do actually on the table. All right, so the first example we're going to look at is if we take it in the battalion. We're going to do SHADOWSTRIKE, and we're going to deploy 6 Terradons off the board. We're looking here at my chief that has to be on the board, unfortunately. In Fangs of Sotek, he's going to be deploying on the board. We're looking across to Dankhold Trog Boss. We're going to beat up on some trolls again, and his little retinue of trolls. I'll assume we have, you know, a screen unit of skinks here in front. We've got a couple heroes here. In this list, you're not going to be able to get a lot of your buffs off from the Skink Starpriest and the Skink Priest onto those Troglodon, or onto the Terradons. But that's fine. We have other tricks we're going to do. So in the movement, we do have the +3 to movement, so he will be moving. This Terradon chief will be moving quite a bit, and he's got plenty of range. He can move all the way up to outside of 3 of these guys, and that's what we're going to do. He doesn't need to get in, but we want to keep him outside of 3 of those guys. Let's make sure he is. Okay, so he's outside of 3, so that's that movement. At the end of movement phase, we're going to drop these Terradons in. Now the problem is we're still stuck outside of 9, and not a real good way to get into this dank boss. We want to take out this boss with the mortals, and then put in our attacks into the trolls. We should be able to do quite a bit of damage if we do it that way. And that's the plan. But you don't want to risk everything on an unrerollable charge here. And so I'm going to use my teleport on this Skink Starseer. He's going to be coming all the way over here to outside of 9 of this unit here. We'll probably put him behind here. And that way he can give this unit there. You make sure you get them wholly within 12 of him, because he does have to be wholly within 12 of the unit that he's going to give that charge roll to. So now they're rolling their 3d6 charge. So you've got a statistically very good chance at making this charge on 3 dice. And you can re-roll it because you've now got a hero there. So if they make their charge on 3 dice, they should. They've got, 9 inches to him. They should have 9 inches here if I had measured it correctly. But if they get, say 10 or 11, so you're going to run into a problem with these Terradons, and part of this is the reason why I don't think this battalion is all that good. So let's say they get a 10. He can tap that guy and then back up. You're doing the same to him. He's going to tap and back. He's doing the same. He can tap there and come back. Even if you got an 11-inch charge, you're running out of space to put these guys. And these ones on the end, unfortunately, you just don't have enough range to get him over that same unit. And now you're forced to just put these guys here. And even though that guy is a pretty big base, you haven't gotten the maximum number of Terradons into him. This would be exacerbated if you had 9 or 12 Terradons, because now you pick one enemy unit that you flew models across. You'd pick the Trog boss, and you'd roll these 4 Terradons, and so you're only going to get 4 D3 mortals onto him instead of the full 6. One thing you do have to be cognizant of is they have to be wholly within 12 of the chief. So you're getting close there, but you got it all in. So it is workable, but if you're trying to precisely snipe something, it's going to be hard based on just that charge from 9 inches away, unless you roll real high to get every single model in. If you roll really high, if you roll like 15 inches, then you'll have a little bit easier chance, but you're a little bit more reliant on that roll. So you should be able to take him out once you get into combat with him too. And Fortunately, your bolas shooting would be all out of range, which is another reason I'm not crazy about the battalion. I think it's a little bit easier to run this another way, which I have this one over here set up. We'll look at this. We're running the same thing, Fangs of Sotek, but not in the battalion. And so now we just have our plain movement to do. And so as we talked about before, they have 16-inch base, plus they're going an extra 3 from Fangs of Sotek. And now we've got some extra buffs we can do from our Skink Priest and our Skink Starpriest. They can point their staffs at them and give them run and still shoot and charge from the Skink Priest. So if he gets that, you've basically given yourself another 6 inches. So you've gone from 19 to 25 base, plus we're going to run +1 from the constellation. So 26 base movement there. So these guys here can move 26. So we're looking at, that's well within there. In fact, they can't quite get tapping them and then coming back, but you are able to scoot around some the side or not if you want to. I'm just going to put them here outside of 3 inches of these guys here. So we're just going to move them up to right there. So they're outside of 3 of those trolls. Your Terradon Chief, you're going to run him, and it doesn't really matter if he needs to charge or not. Not a big deal. So end of movement, that's basically what your movement can look like. You can obviously swing around the side a little bit more if you needed to get more in. I'm going to do the same thing on the teleport. I'm teleporting this guy up here outside of 9, 2, 4, 6, 8. So yeah, he can come right about there to where he's wholly within 12 of these guys again. Wholly within 12 of these Terradons so that he can make sure and give them that extra charge. But now you're kind of doing the same thing. If you want to hit these trolls, you can. You can hit them with every single guy because you're going to roll a decent charge. Or you can attempt to tap that guy. Now he's only 7 inches away on this loadout, on this deployment. And so you should be able to tap him with a whole lot more guys, even on a 9-inch charge, which should easily do it. You should be able to tap that guy and back him back out if you need to. So you could easily take that guy out or fly them all over the trolls, drop your mortals on them, and then attack the boss. So I think you have a little bit more flexibility to hit and definitely more range if you need to. I think the keys, though, is Fangs. You get that extra movement. You can move these guys just about anywhere. And teleporting that Skink Starseer into range so he can give them that extra charge. That extra charge is so nice, especially because these guys fly, and you're getting your +1 from the constellation. So they're going, a possible 13-inch charge while flying. It gives you so many possibilities of where to drop these. But I think 6 is the sweet spot. In fact, if you wanted to just double down on Terradons, you can have one wave coming in and then another wave for turn 2 to kind of answer whatever survives from this first wave. And since they're only 80 points for 3, so that's 160 points right there, they're well worth their cost. Now, they're weak. They will take a damage if you don't have them buffed up, so you got to be careful of that. They don't really want to be stuck in combat very often, but in this format here, they're going to get all their shots, they're going to get all their attacks, and they're going to get to drop all their rocks. I think it outweighs the battalion, where you're going to have to drop outside of range and either take the javelins, which aren't as good, or you'll be out of range of the bolas, and you won't be able to get as decent of a charge in. So, all right, that's my thoughts and my deployment there for Terradons. What are y'all thinking? Anything change your mind? Are you taking Terradons, or you still think Ripperdactyls are the way to go? If I were going to go with some flappy boys, I'd be doing Terradons. Let me know what you guys think. And let me know what the next unit you want. The Ripperdactyls and Terradons were requested a lot, so that's why they got put on the board. Let me know what else y'all are wanting diagnosed and shown on the table. Y'all have a good one.